Many of us are looking for experiences which instigate a sense of reverence, activate deeper awareness, and remind us that there is more to this life than what our normal senses or our ego tells us. Psilocybin, or as I call her grandmother, psilocybin, is one such resource. A soul healing tool that grows so abundantly in our land that it's almost like she's just shouting at us, hey, over here, pay attention. I will help you see yourself differently. I will help you to shift out of the binding constructs of the illusions that you tell yourself. I will help you to connect with your source. I will help you to remember who you are. She is a teacher, a living, sentient being. And when you approach her with reverence and the intention of communing with your highest self, this is exactly what will unfold. Remember, intention is everything. We cultivate an intention within ourselves and we experience the reflection of that outside of ourselves. And because our highest self is divine, we automatically end up creating an experience where we are able to connect with our source and come home more authentically to the truth of our being. In our world today, we need experiences that remind us we are holy and sacred. What has come to pass in our lives is holy and sacred. We are connected to our source, and there is a power greater than us, thank God, and we are not alone. We came here on purpose, and there is meaning in what has come to pass. Having these awarenesses help us to cultivate transformation. It's when we feel stuck and that we think there is no purpose, no meaning, there's nothing bigger than who we are, that our vantage point remains small. We become unable to connect with the truth of our being, right? We do the same thing, we want a different solution, but we keep getting the same answers because we don't change the thing is that we are doing. And so what's helpful in working with a psychedelic like psilocybin is she shifts our perspective and offers a new vantage point. Instead of being so stuck in the personal aspects of our story, we are able to witness them. So this requires an investigation or an excavation of our own personal underworld, which of course she also helps us do. We get to look at the binding or heavy energy we carry. And so what we're afraid of comes up, what we feel guilty or ashamed of, griefs that we haven't felt, anything that we have blocked ourselves from experiencing comes up at some point or other. And of course, it's easy to think, well, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to get so uncomfortable? And here's what I tell you, is that if you do not give yourself the opportunity to get so uncomfortable and allow this to come up in a way that you can address it, it will come up unexpected at some other time in your life. We cannot get rid of or ignore what we haven't dealt with. It doesn't go away. And so when we're working with a psychedelic like this, she helps us to recognize that. And particularly when we're working in a group ceremony, and I facilitate group ceremonies, we can have this experience of, here is this really hard thing, but here's also this connection to source. And here is also this beautiful music that is being shared with me. And so there is a safe space in which I can go inwards and feel what I need to feel in order to let it go. We need that. Each of us need that. You know, one of my first experiences with psychedelics was 30 years ago. I was barely 16 years of age and had recently left my parents' home. I remember watching the sun rise this one November morning, and I had been up most of the night because of the psychedelic. And so though this was not in a ceremonial setting, the connection with my own soul healing was very profound. As I watched the sunrise, I had this sense of the vastness of my spirit. I couldn't believe that such a small body was a part of this spirit. And then I started to see that my spirit wasn't in my body was actually in my spirit. And I felt this sense of relief, like I could relax into that. something greater than me was holding me. And that really gave me a sense of comfort, a sense of refuge. As time moved forward in my life and I ended up going through many experiences of grief and trauma, that awareness from that time period of 16 had given me a foundation to know that whatever came up, there was something that I could rest into, that I felt a connection to my source. And so even though these horrible things were happening around me or to me or within my own life, I recognized they also were not who I am. So this is another piece that is so helpful with this medicine. We start to recognize that we are not defined by what has happened to us. We are so much more than that. Important questions for our own soul healing. If you have any that you would like to pose for me, please put them in the comments. Follow me on Instagram at sarahsalterkelly. Get a copy of my book, Trauma as Medicine, where I go deeper into ceremonial energy healing and shamanic tools for addressing grief and trauma, as well as there's a big chapter on working with ayahuasca. Go on to my website, sarahsalterkelly.com. Blessings and thank you for joining me.